Jim Collison, we're live from Infotec 2016 here in Omaha, Nebraska. Last of about 8 interviews. If you haven't caught any of them, you want to head over to the Silicon Prairie News live page. Super easy to remember, siliconprairienews.com/live. Paul, I wish they would have gotten spn.com.
That would have been a great domain name.
I think all 3-letter domains were gone.
Some person in Thailand got that right away. And
yeah, in like 1976.
He knew there was going to be an internet.
So for sure. Yeah. Paul, welcome. Paul Oliver, great to have you. You're back. We've interviewed you before.
Yes.
Thanks for
I came back because it's such a great interview. The process is good. Yeah, you should get a late night show in Omaha here soon.
Maybe someday. Yeah. You never know. Maybe I can replace Becca on
yeah, that'd be good. I like Becca too.
Hopefully that won't make it out.
he can say a lot of words.
Yeah. So for folks who don't know you, and so can I, by the way, for folks who don't know you, why don't you tell us a lot of words about yourself? Where are you from? What do you do? Sure. Some of those kinds of things.
Yeah. My name's Paul Oliver. I am the principal architect at Mosaic. Mosaic, if you've never heard of it, it's okay, because I hadn't heard of it a month ago either. We just came out with that name. The marketing team has helped us with this. But what Mosaic is a rebranding of a company called Studiocode. And long story short, Hudl and Nelnet had a baby called Mosaic. And Mosaic is for doctors and nurses in the education space. And Hudl's video technology, we have that, and we can apply it now in education. So an example might be that nursing student. You want to make sure she's learning and she's following the right processes, and you want to make sure that that she's interacting with the patient the right way. We'll film the student in the simulation, make sure she's looking at the right symptoms of the patient. And you got a 45-minute video, and you don't want to watch the whole 45-minute video and review. So we can tag that video and then take you right to those teaching moments, so the teacher can make that impact right away. Within minutes after the simulation's over. That's
great. When we think of Hudl's ability in sports to be able to go in and get the right swing or to get the right kick or some of those kinds of things, great that we can now take that. And I'm not saying sports isn't important, but
sports are important.
Healthcare is really important, right? And I think when we think about the coaching moments that happen with a nurse or even with a doctor, or kind of going into some of those procedures, I think that's pretty cool. So how's that actually going so far? You're in on the ground floor, bottom, right? A lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
What's it like working with the Hudl team, and how's that coming together?
It's incredible. First off, we already have 3,200 customers, and so Hudl bought this company in Australia, and so we have Kaiser Permanente, we have Stanford Medical School, we have Mayo Clinic. They're all using the Fat client on the Mac already, but they want the cloud. They want to be able to share their videos. They want to be able to have it shared across the network. So it's great. We already have a customer base that we can go out in the field and talk to them and say, hey, what do you like? What don't you like? And so that's incredible. We also have full backing from Hudl and Nelnet. So we have a marketing team already. Even though we're a startup, we have a full marketing team. Hudl's
can you really call it a startup, Paul? Come on.
It's cheating,
right?
When
two companies like Nelnet and Hudl get together, is it really a startup? I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's a good point. And it just goes to show that if you're in a big organization, you can still foster a startup culture. You can take a team and support it and incubate it, and they still have that startup mentality. It's good stuff.
Yeah, in an entrepreneurial setting, right? I mean, it still acts and looks like a startup, a small company, get things going. You have the safety and the backing of 2 pretty solid companies.
Yes, and that's fun. And I know there are a lot of companies out there that are doing sort of making a startup feel on their other teams to foster that innovation, which I think is essential. To really get true innovation, you need to give a startup type feel to these teams.
Well, that startup idea kind of keeps companies from settling in and getting complacent, right? That's all that really is. An intrapreneur, as we've called them sometimes before, is that person inside an organization that can turn things on a dime. I think of the work, the podcasting. You were joking with me, earlier about podcasting all the time, but we brought podcasting to Gallup, and we do a ton of it now. We create 3 or 4 a week, and we've got more on, more in line, and that's been a very good. It's been a very good process for us. It's been good for me because I get to do them. But at the same time, we've reached a whole bunch of customers that we can never reach before, and they've let me do some things in there that are very startup-ish.
Yeah.
I don't have a team that reports to me. You know, I just got a loose group of folks that are kind of helping me get this thing done. We're doing it on a tight budget without a lot of resources, and taking advantage of some of those things in the market that are available, you know, from that standpoint. So it kind of feels startup. So it must feel really startup from that standpoint. And yet you've got a bunch of customers already.
We do.
Cranking on this thing.
But we're in the Fuse. So we're at the top floor of the Hudl building at 8th and P in Lincoln. And so we're in the Haymarket. I'm going down to the street, and I see people from, you know, InMotion, Nebraska Global, Hudl, people everywhere. We're all working together, and we have a lot of startups up in the Fuse, like Live By and Seamster, and you know, we have these groups that are back. They have investors, and when I am stuck in a problem, I can go out and talk to, you know, the CTO of Live By and ask some questions, and they're all just like 20 feet away from each other. We have lunch together. So it's a true startup feel in a really cool space downtown Lincoln. And my view is amazing. I look out and I see Pinnacle Bank Arena on the left and Memorial Stadium on the right, and then, you know, just downtown Lincoln. It's incredible. Yeah. So it's worth the 50-minute drive for me every day.
Downtown Lincoln, way different. I mean, I think about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, even, it was just way different.
Night and day, right?
Yeah, way different. Does that same kind of culture exist anywhere here in Omaha that you're seeing there?
I think the Exchange is really bringing startups together. The 8th floor of the Exchange. I think we have sort of startup communities popping up around here. Obviously, Omaha has got a lot of capital, a lot of big companies, and a lot of investors, and so there's a lot of cool stuff happening here too.
Joe was just talking about that. We had Joe Olson on here just before you, and he was kind of talking about that. I know AIM is making a big run at making that Exchange what that is, kind of. It's a great spot, great opportunities. We'll just have to execute, I think, at this point, right? We just got to get some startups in there and get that thing moving, and they all the pieces are in place to make Exchange, and kind of a similar spot at Omaha, not quite as beautiful as that spot in Lincoln, but some things coming. What as you look ahead in your adventure here, next 12 months, what are you really excited about? What kind of things are you looking forward to that are coming up here in the next 12 months?
We are diving into the cloud headlong, and I was in Azure before, and now we're in AWS. I've talked to you a little bit about the cloud in the past, and I'd like to hear a little bit, you know, after this. I want to hear how Gallup is doing, what their cloud strategy looks like there. But I'm fully able to take advantage of AWS features, and they have a lot of things that I didn't have in Azure that now I have access to. And so I'm really interested in that. And I'm diving into mobile. I'm not really strong on the mobile side, so I get to work with Don't Panic Labs in Nebraska Global, and they're doing our mobile experience. And so get a chance to just do everything, and that's my weakness. I love everything. I love going down to the bits in the database. I love going in the front end and, you know, going in the JavaScript inspector in Chrome. I love it all. And I have, you know, we have a small team, and we're trying to hire people like that love it all. But, you know, that's the exciting thing. As far as just across the whole stratosphere of tech, it is amazing that the big heavyweights in the cloud are fighting it out, Azure and AWS.
For sure.
And there's Rackspace. There's a bunch of other ones. They're duking it out, and we just reap the benefits. We're down here. It's like a Skittle rainbow falling down with all these discounts and price decreases.
Crazy. Every week it seems like I'm getting notified by one of them saying price changes.
Yes, absolutely.
And they never go up.
No, they have never gone up.
Yeah, they're always going down.
Which is great for us.
No, it is very good for us.
What's Gallup doing in the cloud, and what have you found?
Well, we've moved our Strength Center completely. It's cloud enabled. So most of it, not completely all of it, but most of it is, and we're using Amazon for some of those services. We did the same thing where we looked at both Azure and Amazon from that standpoint, and Amazon had some of the services that we wanted to take advantage of. And so we continue, each system as it comes up goes to the cloud. When we can, right? We collect data that needs to stay regional. And so there's times that there's always going to be on-prem stuff for us until we get some of those data centers in the right locations going forward. But cool. That's definitely, we got to scale out that way, right? And so we'd love to see, you know, today 4,000 to 5,000 people take the StrengthsFinder assessment every single day on that. And that's not to mention any of our other business clients that come in to take Q12 or any of those kinds of things. We'd love to see that 4,000 turn into 40,000.
Yeah.
And then we'd love to see that to 400,000. Right? So you got to be able to scale out to that. And so that's our hope. in the cloud. That is, we need those resources we can scale out.
Yeah.
So, no, pretty cool.
Well,
hey,
well, that kind of leads into what, my topic today was microservices. And so Hudl had to go to microservices to scale. I mean, I saw a statistic that they are, I believe, behind YouTube, the second most popular website on the internet on Friday nights during football season. I mean, they're handling so much data and so much video that nobody can compare.
They have to balloon out, just for that video alone. They've got to balloon out and then come back.
I would hate to have to pay that cloud bill every month, but they gladly pay it because it gives them so much value.
Yeah.
And so same thing, Mosaic. I mean, we're going to be handling a lot of video from these teaching centers, these nursing centers. We are building in a way that we want it to scale when we need to. But you shouldn't build microservices in right out of the gate. You should look for those seams, look for those areas. And
Paul, for someone who doesn't know microservices, what does that mean?
Great question. So you're familiar with a company that just has one application, one code base. Everybody is coding in that. That's called a monolith. And then you have service-oriented architecture. So a lot of companies that are doing, they're doing their homework, they're following the right practices, they're doing service-oriented architecture. They have, 30, 40, 50 services in production, and people are calling those. And then there's microservices, which fall on kind of even more extreme spectrum of service-oriented architecture. And what they're doing, we're seeing services that are usually tend to be around 50 lines of code, up to maybe 3,000 lines of code at the top. And you are scaling them out by duplicating these little tiny services that maybe they only do is they just log a message to the database, or maybe their job is just to tell you the most popular search result for that phrase. That's all their job is. And then you scale by duplicating these little, this little drone army of these little services, and you put those out in the cloud. And so this is why Amazon, this is why Azure, this is why Docker, these technologies are growing. Yeah, it's because of this microservice. Right. So, by going to a microservice architecture, you're going to be faster. You're going to be more technology averse. You can try new innovations and
maybe in some cases be more secure from containers and Docker in that space is playing in a lot in the security space, so that you can separate these services from everybody else.
Instead of putting all your crucial data in one system and that gets compromised, you spread it out across the load. So if one system gets compromised, well, all you got was our customer's favorite, playlist. So I mean, it's a bad thing, but it will be okay to function.
It's not the keys to the kingdom. From that standpoint. So who else is doing microservices really well when you think of some companies that are doing that?
The big names are Spotify, Amazon. Amazon came up with the concept of 2 pizza teams, which is no team should be larger than can be fed with 2 large pizzas. And they're the ones that came up with the concept of you build it, you run it. So at Amazon, if you're on a team, your job is not only to build it, but you have to support it. You have to deploy it.
Be on it.
So you got a DevOps person on your team, but you own it and you feel autonomy. You feel it's amazing that Tim Ferriss says in 4-Hour Workweek, he goes, it's amazing how someone's IQ doubles when you give them autonomy and you indicate that you trust them.
Right.
And so I find that to be true. So Amazon found that. Netflix is a big microservice company. They have around 800 microservices, and each service averages about 1,000 lines of code. And then there's, Hudl is a great example. There's another company in the UK called Forward. But I had a couple of people approach me today. They're at UP, and they said they're doing microservices. I've heard that Burst Data is starting to go down the road, and so is CSG. So it got really big in 2014. Yeah. I mean, as the hype cycle goes, I didn't expect it to be catching on so quickly in big companies in Omaha yet. I thought it was going to play out in the startups for a while before bigger companies adopted it. But I think bigger companies are more agile today than they were 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think some of the agility that the exercises they went through in 2009, 2010, 2011 are starting to pay off now, right? They kind of understand it. It was for a lot of it was tough to move over, but now they get that. And so I think they're able to respond a whole lot quicker. Plus, I think the adoption of these microservices is higher because I think it's actually easier in some ways, right, to go about that. The development cycle is pretty quick. Who do I need? What's the right skill set? So we're moving into this world. From a technology standpoint, what's the right skill set for someone? I guess it's going to be like you, right? But what's the right skill set that I need?
If I was getting out of college and I wanted to be on a microservice team, I would want to be learning how to run things like Chef or Vagrant or Docker to learn how to run things smaller. If I wanted to deploy, if I just wanted to write code, then JavaScript is a really great language for that, because lots of people know JavaScript, and Node is an amazing platform. If you wanted to do more traditional coding, like a more industry standard language, Java or C# are great languages for that. Because you can write a microservice in any language.
Right.
You know, you can use Go, Rust, Python, you know, Ruby if you wanted to, or you can use C# and Java if you wanted to be more, you know, friendly in the enterprise. So
yeah, it doesn't care. It's just getting consumed. It's dropping in. It's doing its thing and kicking it out.
The concept you want to have is you want to have dumb pipes and a smart endpoint. So don't put this enterprise service bus. Don't put up BizTalk servers. Don't, you know, look at this bus, and if a certain message goes across the wire, flag some other field somewhere else. Instead, just do a dumb pipe. Just use REST, just use HTTP, and then make the endpoint do all the work. And then that's the cool thing. You know, just let the endpoint do all the work. Do the heavy lifting there.
Yeah. No, interesting. So, it's interesting you mentioned JavaScript, and it was years ago, and JavaScript.
Like it's come back, right? Who knew?
Circle. It was like, we hated it. Like
it was so,
and now
putrid.
Now it's the thing, right?
Now it's the new hotness.
Python was kind of similar in some ways. It was there and it was cool, and then it wasn't cool for a while. Now it's cool again.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
full circle, right?
Yeah. Well, C# was a similar, right? I thought for a while C# would go away, and all of a sudden, I don't know what
Microsoft open sourced their Roslyn, and you got people saying,
Crazy.
"Hey, we could do this anywhere."
Yeah.
I mean, and now it runs on. You can run it on a Mac now.
And now we're short 2,000 C# developers in the city of Omaha. It seems like everybody's trying to hire C# developers.
Yeah.
And I always tell kids, if you're in school, learn C#.
You are going to have your field day. Field day picking.
If you like it, if you like it in Visual Studio, from that standpoint, you know, so. Interesting. It's funny. I just we had an interview before you, same type thing. And so the web, right? Well, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I mean, that's kind of where
that's
things
what I would
are going,
teach folks. Yeah.
What's the next year look like for you in this new adventure? What I already asked. What are you hoping for? But as you look to the end of the year, any goals as you think about wrapping up by 2016? What are you thinking?
That's a good question. For Mosaic, we want to hire another 4 developers, and we want to move most of our customers into the cloud. For me personally, I really want to explore and learn more about cloud and microservices and continuous delivery. So
yeah, well, you're the hottest guy in Omaha right now. I've seen your picture on a bunch of different things. So.
Yeah, I don't know that that's true, but I appreciate that, Jim. That's kind of you.
No, you are, Paul. You better. I hope they know what they got.
Oh, you're a nice guy. Nice guy.
No, some good stuff. Paul, thanks for taking a few minutes to jump in here, and appreciate you doing that. Yeah. This will wrap up what we've done here in 2016. As we're talking, they're wrapping up. They're wrapping up around us as folks are tearing things down. Jamie, you're off the hook, man. We'll see you as far as that goes. And this will end the coverage. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Thanks.